All right, welcome back to the Buffalo Plus channel. Mike Catalana, Dan Fates. I'm Jenna Cottrell. The Bills won 34-31 over the Dolphins. They're advancing on in the playoffs. And also, like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy our stuff. And also, it's the first time all three of us are here at a game, a playoff
Three
win.
Mike flags.
Three Mike flags.
Look at us, because
Three
people have been
jackets.
saying, like, we got the jackets. They're like, how come you don't have your own microphones? Now we all have our own microphones.
Yeah.
It's so Jenna can talk more.
Well, I wouldn't expect that because I'm literally in the middle of you guys, considering we have
We're
some.
gonna need to be separated.
We have some hot takes on this one. All right, I want to start with you, Mike.
Yep.
The Bills won. They did not make this game easy on themselves. What did you see from this team today to pick up the win?
They make too many mistakes. They do too many dumb things. And look, I'm going to say right now, they advanced, they won. That's
Yep.
the most important thing. They were dumb today.
Yep.
They put
Yeah.
their defense in a bad spot. They put the offense in a bad spot.
Agreed.
Special teams, they made a few
Agreed.
plays.
I can
They
feel
did
the
all those things.
animosity.
And I didn't like the scheme in parts of the game. I loved it in the beginning. I loved it when Dan was anxious in the beginning, when the Bills were aggressive and they were walking down the field and they put Miami on their heels. And then in the second half, I thought they got dumb. I thought the offensive coordinator had issues today, especially in that second half. So go ahead, Dan. Try to say you were right.
I was right.
No.
And off camera, he had said I was right.
No,
Before
I
we
did not
yes,
say
yes,
that.
He said
I
was
didn't
right.
say that.
He said it.
I didn't hear that.
Okay.
See, here's the argument was Dan thought they would be ultra conservative, and I thought they would be aggressive. I did like the aggressive game plan. I
That's
like,
fine.
you know what's a good play? Throwing it to 14.
Yeah,
And
again
then
and again.
pretending you don't know him in the second half.
So to Mike's point, where he said they made dumb mistakes. That was my fear, was to go into this game and be smart and conservative, not give them any chances. So while the opening drive was the prime example, they got literally stuck in no man's land on a 4th and 3 or 4.
Yeah, I would have
yards.
kicked the field goal
I would
there.
have kicked
Yeah.
the field goal
Yeah.
because
You
I
did
felt
say
like,
that.
I felt like you gave them, a little bit of momentum. Anytime this defense got a stop, I felt like it energized the offense a little bit. Skylar Thompson wasn't bad. He was
No, he
way
was
better
good.
than I expected.
I thought he was good today.
I did
But there
too.
has to be a middle ground with this offense, especially in this game, between a 50-yard bomb and a second down run for 0 yards. There has to be a middle ground. It can't be this just throw it and pray.
But that's not the offense I was talking about. I thought after a while, is that all you can do is try to throw it 50 yards down the field?
Yeah.
That's not what I was talking about. I was talking about trying to score, trying to move the ball, not taking chances, but playing aggressively, up tempo. I thought they did that for a while, and then they fell asleep. But the mistakes they made, Dan, were so egregious. Well, first of all,
Yeah.
the couple of plays, you thought that Knox had the touchdown in the end zone. They called it. Okay, you kick the field goal. Then you kick the ball out of bounds. Then when you throw the pick, you let the guy run it back 50 yards.
Yeah.
Dumb stuff. And then Allen with the interception, it goes off Beasley and it's picked off. And then you've got the turnover to start the second half. That's not picking up the blitz, Allen not being aware. So
Yeah.
while it was a bit of being aggressive, it also is just making Jenna mistake after mistake.
Well, I want to bring that up because we saw, Allen had 3 turnovers on the day, and some of them were bad. And how concerned are you moving forward? Because we know that Allen has struggled in terms of bad interceptions during the regular season. He's one of the top guys in the NFL in terms of being picked off. Now we saw this in a playoff game. How much of you are you concerned moving forward?
In 2023
speak.
now,
Yeah.
that's who he is.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's who he is. Loose with the football. He had a fumble early, it went out of bounds. He gets fumbled for a touchdown.
Oh, yeah, I forgot
He had
about that
another
one.
fumble at another point in the game, and they ended up, I think it was Spencer
Spencer
Brown
Brown,
that
yeah.
picked it up. Too loose with the ball. And even after the interceptions, Dan, he put the ball in harm's way several times. They made that pass
I know.
to Khalil Shakir. There was also a hold on the play. But, man, he threw it into coverage again. He's putting the ball in danger too many times.
That's why I just wanted to see more of a safer approach. And
Yeah.
again, I thought they ran the ball okay.
Yeah.
But I don't think they ran it enough, especially when you're up 17-0. Yeah. How about that? I told you going into this game, I wanted to
Yes,
be
you did.
conservative.
You
and
did.
this was a team that had ran the ball pretty well
Yeah.
the last 2 weeks, and they just didn't go to it at all today because it was like they fell in love with Josh throwing the ball deep. And you want to know what? It worked out a little bit in the beginning, and then they fell in love with it too much, and they got away to thinking, well, we got a big play. We'll just get all big plays. It's
Well-
like No, it's 7. They gave the Dolphins 17 points in the first half
Yeah.
off their mistakes.
Yeah, no, that was the biggest thing. Was just they were the ones shooting themselves in the foot, and we've heard them talk so much about how they have to protect the ball, all of these things. But to see them do that in this game and keep the Dolphins in it, the Bills were up 17-0. We all thought like, all right, the Bills are just going to roll in this game. It's going to be exactly what was the one spread we saw online?
22 and a half at one
Yeah.
point, or 24 and a
Yeah.
half, the live line.
Yeah.
Hey, I got to say this. The Dolphins have a lot more toughness than we give them credit for.
I would agree.
Yeah, I would
The
agree.
last game here with Tua, they outplayed the Bills.
Yeah.
And they didn't win.
Yeah.
Today, if you're a Dolphins fan, you should be proud of your team coming in here
Yeah.
with a 7th-round pick, rookie, and enough other injuries, and they scared the hell out of the Bills in this one. They had the Bills on the ropes
Yeah.
the whole
This
time.
place was eerie quiet.
Yeah.
It was nervous energy, and at times, you talk about, it's a playoff game, and you never take it lightly. I looked over at some of the other photographers on the field, and I said, this feels like a preseason game. Like, there wasn't the juice.
Wow.
Because it was a familiar opponent, because it was 13-point favorites, because it was Skylar Thompson, it didn't seem to have the energy in the beginning of the game. And then they rolled to 17 points, and we're all thinking, well, we can just pack it up now.
Yeah.
And again, a kick goes out of bounds, and all of a sudden they get 3 points, and all of a sudden there's life.
Well,
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Dan, it reminds me of the way the Sabres have played. And especially in the past few years where,
Yeah.
and this is, compare the Bills to the Sabres, a little mistake ends up going in the net.
Yep. Yeah.
Like, you kicked it out of bounds. Fine, they got it to 40. You let them walk down the field on you. You throw a pick. You let the guy run it back 50 yards.
Yeah.
You can't stop a kick return that almost went for a touchdown. You're right about game plan, but there was that sequence of time. I wrote it, I tweeted, it was 8 consecutive plays
Yeah.
that were just in all phases.
Yeah.
Special teams, offense turning it over, defense. Who do you want more than Matt Milano in an open field tackle? You make that play on a 4th and 2, you never know what it does to the rest of the game.
Yeah.
And Jenna, look, Skylar Thompson played well and all those things, but if they advance, it's going to be against better quarterbacks. If they
Yeah.
do advance, it's going to be up against better quarterbacks.
Yeah.
As we're recording this, we don't know for sure, but we're thinking it's going to be Burrow, but
Yeah.
it could be Trevor Lawrence. You got to be better than
Yeah,
this.
either way, it doesn't get any easier. And that's the thing. The Bills, we were favorited heavily in this game. We thought it was going to be so much easier. But I feel like this was really a wake-up call for this team because you cannot play like that against better teams. And I think, Dan, it brings up the point, like, how much do you think the Bills can learn from this game? Or do you think it's just too quick of a turnaround?
I don't think they're realizing
Hold on.
anything new about
Time
themselves.
Out. I'm being Sean here. I'm calling an inappropriate timeout in the middle of the game. Seriously. Twice.
Was I about to have a tackle for a loss?
Exactly. It was
Oh
It was
my
going to be a
gosh.
very good
Okay.
take here.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I don't know what
was good.
exactly. I was like, what happened with the camera? I don't know what's going on. I don't know how much they can really learn from this. This is a team that this season hasn't been pretty.
No, it really
this
hasn't.
This game was kind of a microcosm of the season. Of play really good at times, think you're gonna blow a team out, shoot yourself in the foot a bunch of times, think you're gonna lose, find a way to win at the end. Hey, I thought they couldn't win 1-score games. I
Oh my
thought this franchise
God.
was doomed from
But
winning.
this shouldn't have been a one-score game.
Exactly.
You know what I was thinking about? It can happen. Like, every game you watched the Rams play last year in the playoffs,
Yeah.
it was like a battle. And then they
Yeah.
were losing. And they found a way to win the Super Bowl. Last year, the Bills played a playoff game here to perfection.
Yeah.
And then they went, obviously, a great game, but then they lost. It doesn't carry over, but Jenna, what I'm worried about is these mistakes have carried over,
Yeah.
and eventually it's just too hard to overcome.
Well, that is the thing, is they shoot themselves in the foot, and then they do it repeatedly, and it feels like when you're waiting on up either the defense, the offense, or special teams to help pick up, it's like it takes a while for them to get out of that rut. And that second quarter, think about how bad that went in every phase of the game. It's not going to get easier. And post game, the Bills, they talked about the office line. A win is a win. We picked up the W. The season continues on. But if I was internally them, I'd be like, holy shit, guys. Sorry. We need to play better.
Leaving that in.
Why don't you go in there now and tell them that?
But you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like it was so nonchalant, and that to me is what
I
was
think
alarming.
if you're a
That's
player,
understandable.
you
I think that's
gotta
understandable.
think that way. Look, they're out there fighting, and believe me, they were fighting with the Dolphins today.
They were.
That was a chippy game, and then
Yeah.
after the game, guys, they both leave by the same tunnel. We're all standing there. Next thing you know, there's a little, it wasn't a fight, but it was
Scuffle?
intense.
Yep.
And it was yelling at each other because
Yeah.
they had battled. I mean, my God, Mitch Morris went after a
I
guy.
know.
It's Mitch. And, he
Mitch.
was like...
Did you see his wife tweet out, like, I don't
No.
know if he'd protect my honor like that?
Yeah, but she's not Josh Allen.
Ex-
No, we're just joking. We're kidding. But it really
She
was,
was funny.
chippy. But, yeah, I like seeing that. But, damn, what else are they going to say other than they found... And they did. They found a way to win.
Correct. But they've had that company line this whole season.
I know. It just
By the way, there are
bothers
no
me.
style points.
They've won 8 in a row.
I know, but
It feels
that's
like-
Yeah.
that's the
It's
thing.
crazy,
Is
isn't it?
I feel like at some point that's not good. Like they're not going to overcome the way they shoot
So
themselves in the
I'm-
foot.
I'm-
That's the fear.
I know we have had games this year where we've said, I need a statement win, things like that. I don't care about any of those anymore.
No, I
I'm no
get
longer at
that.
that point. I understand that this team is still so
but it doesn't have to
talented.
be so gross.
I agree.
Like it was gross at
But
points.
there are times when I'm sitting here and I go, I kind of buy into the spiel of just got to win by one here. They didn't need to cover a 13.5 point spread. They
but
just needed to win.
It's the issues that seem to bleed over from both the
Okay.
offensive side of the ball to the defense
So
to
we
the
gave a
special
hockey
teams.
comparison,
Yeah.
and they are not nearly as good as this. But there are
Golf?
teams that can just basketball teams. The
Oh.
Warriors would always just be able to flip a switch.
I-
Way more talented than this Bills team. But there are teams that they can play, they can go in lulls for a quarter, a 10-minute span, and then dig themselves out of it. Because we saw, as we shift to the more positive things that we did today, how about Boogie Basham?
Yeah.
Having
Yeah.
a hell of a day.
Shaq Lawson,
Yeah.
too.
Having a hell of a day.
Kyer, Elam, yeah.
Like these are guys that stepped up in big moments, and that's what we've always been waiting for. It was so weird to see Von Miller sitting on the bench and at the field today and just going, man, what could have been? I was also there as they're walking off the field. Micah Hyde walked right past me and said, "One game closer." Like,
Whoa.
take that for what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Oh.
again, another guy to get back possibly, and again,
No,
there
my-
were positives to take away.
There were positives. I'm just
It's like
saying.
we spent 8 minutes
No,
trashing the
I'm
team.
just saying that I think Bills fans would feel this way too. Like a win is
It's
a
an icky win.
It's an icky win. They've had a lot of them, and I feel like at some point
Right.
you can't just flip a switch.
is
I
who
feel
they
like
are.
I think
This
of.
is who they
I
are.
know. I
So
I
let me
get
ask
it.
you
That doesn't
this.
mean I have to like it.
Right. Last year they were.
It doesn't have
last
to be
year-
this stressful.
Last year they were fun.
You had
and
to separate us.
Last year they were fun and sexy and everything was easy. This year it's tough. It's
But here's
gritty.
the reality. At this point, it doesn't put a
Sexy?
They were sexy last year because of Brian Dable's fat face.
it doesn't put a point
He's
on the
gone
board.
straight off the
It doesn't put a point on the board for next week, but I'll say this. If you're the Chargers, man, as much as you fell apart last night, if you made one play, you'd still be playing
Yeah.
this week.
Yep.
And you just find a way. So you can make mistake after mistake after make and still survive. And you go in the next week and you got to play a lot better. I mean, that is the case. So in terms of this, I thought issues on offense weren't just on Josh. I thought they missed. They did not know what they were doing against the Dolphins' pressure today. And
Yeah.
Josh did not react well to that pressure. And I don't know if it was specifically because
Turning down Mike's mic.
I don't know if it was specifically because they did things differently.
Yeah.
But I thought he looked confused on a few plays.
Yeah.
And he wasn't going to the hot read, and he took the hit from behind. Like, those are the kind
yeah.
of things every other team is marking down too. Get pressure on Allen. And the problem is, Jenna, right now, in the other locker room, they're saying 17 will give the ball up.
Yeah.
This is what happens in
Yeah.
the NFL.
Yeah.
And that's what he was doing. He still made great plays because he's Josh
Yeah,
Allen.
yeah.
But 17 will give the ball up. And that's what
That's
they can't
tough.
keep doing.
Well, a couple of times when he's running free, he looked like Sean McCoy out there. Like the one, I was like, oh, Josh. I will say, though, we talk about Sean McDermott and the company line. I don't think when McDermott made the banner for Find a Way as their preseason mantra, how much that would kind of epitomize this team. But yeah,
Two
they
other
won.
points. I had to eat a little bit of crow. Halftime tweet of the Cole Beasley reunion tour has been a complete dud.
Yeah.
Had 2 nice catches at the end there, but again,
And the touchdown.
the touchdown. I just don't think he is their go-to guy anymore on short yardage situations. He struggled in the Cincinnati game. He missed one on third down.
I thought
I-
that was a bad pass.
I think
that was a
think they're
bad
off.
pass.
I think they're
in
off.
the
I don't
Cincinnati
think
game.
Beasley has. As
He made 2
much.
big plays. for
I
them.
was to say.
And that was a
I
big
said I
play.
ate a little crow for that.
But
that
here's
was.
the other.
I think you need to eat more crow.
Yeah.
Oh, really? So the ball that hits his hands and then gets
What about Gabe
intercepted?
Davis today?
What
No,
about-
that was definitely
That was bad, yeah.
Okay. So does that somebody goes, oh, you could delete this tweet? I go, oh, did the interception get called back? I go, people need to understand also that Twitter's in real life. in a real time.
I know. I will say.
People go back and look at my tweets at the time, like, this was a dumb tweet.
I hate when people do that, like on score predictions. They'll be like, you were so wrong. It's like, okay, sicko, I couldn't predict the future. Sorry.
Well, that's the idea of predicting. You're trying to predict the future.
Exactly, but I'm saying, like, when people go back, it's like, okay, if I knew the score, I yeah, like,
Exactly. It's like Cole Beasley had a terrible play, and I sat there and went, that was a bad play. And then he makes a great play. People are like, wow, this was high school takes.
Here's my overall thought on.
Go off
I
the
did not
rails.
think Leslie Frazier had a bad day defensively, and they gave
I
up
agree.
31 points because they
Yeah.
kept one.
Because that's
was
how bad the offense was.
That's how bad the offense was. I thought Ken Dorsey had a bad day. His quarterback didn't help him because he made mistakes, but I thought he had a bad day. You have to find a way to get Diggs the ball in the second half. He was
Yeah.
comically torching them in the first half.
yeah,
Force the ball to 14.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
okay.
That's a little
He
bit
had-
on the quarterback,
He
too.
had over 100 yards today, and they didn't even look
He had
at him
over
in the
100
second
yards, like
half.
in the first quarter, basically. I think he
Yeah.
had 91 yards or
Nice to
something in
see
the first
Gabe.
quarter.
Nice to see Gabe.
Gabe showed up
He
today.
showed up big.
Made plays.
That's what I think the Bills need consistently.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Is the 6 catch game for 90 plus yards.
Boy, it would have been
Yeah.
nice if Dawson Knox had that second one because his first
Yeah.
touchdown was
That was
spectacular.
spectacular.
And Diggs was
Shot
awful close.
perfectly.
And by
That
the
was-
way, I had a lot of Dolphins fans ripping into me because I said, how did they not stop the game for a review? And they're like, oh, it was obvious. I saw it up. I don't know, on the one Diggs caught in the end zone, then they took it away. Or
Yeah.
they called it incomplete.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't think he had possession of the ball at the time. But how in the world, in live action?
Yeah.
And the reason we say this is because it's within the 2 minutes.
Yeah.
That's reviewed upstairs.
Yes.
So that's why I thought they would take the moment, review it, and then see whether it went or not. And then the Bills ended up using the timeout.
Yeah.
Not a great game for Sean McDermott.
Yeah.
Between the timeouts
The timeouts were
and
so
the timeouts
brutal.
twice. It was just bad.
Even his own players were like,
Prior to
"Dude, what do we do?"
snap, right? What do they say? Prior to the snap, Buffalo with a timeout.
Yeah, me too. My feet are freezing. Sorry. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
Yep.
I
You can say that.
Okay.
You also shoot half the games outside.
yeah, I
You're
was to
yelling.
say.
I thought it was pretty nice out here today.
I'll be your
I'm in the
photographer.
press box, baby.
Do the food. I ate myself into a
Okay,
a
so
coma.
just so you
I was
guys are all
asleep.
aware, normally you don't eat until halftime. Jenna was itching to
It
go
was the
with
longest game ever.
about 10
was.
minutes to go in the second quarter. She's looking around, and we see somebody come around with food, and Jenna was like on the
Hey.
hunt. She went upstairs, came back, full on plate. She was eating.
I didn't want
with-
to stand in line. I got a drink. I got all that. Are you?
Yeah.
He's wrapping this up.
I'm cold.
Just
I
out
got
of
here-
spite. You're right. You're right. Okay, Dan's right.
It's
For
like 30
about
minutes.
this, Dan's right about
30
this.
yeah.
All right, we're gonna.
At least right once.
All right, Dan, Mike, I'm Jenna. Like, comment, subscribe if you enjoy our content.
And the link to the merch.
And the
is
merch,
below.
yes.
Merch is going
BuffaloPlusStore.com. It is very
Yeah.
fun. BuffaloPlusStore.com. All right, thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.